Many students across the country are finally back in school. So let's check in on how the teachers are handling it.
You're playing? Are you playing? No, I'm not. Otherwise, I will call the police. I'm serious. I am had enough of it. I knew you were going to take off your mask the moment I turned the corner. You're a
That was allegedly a teacher berating a student for not wearing his mask properly in an empty hallway. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot is praising her city's teachers for scaring students with their over-the-top COVID outfits. Believe it or not, the students in those classrooms are actually the lucky ones because they're at least allowed to go to school. Data shows that across our country, at least 1,000 schools have closed since July due to COVID concerns. Will we ever be allowed to go back to normal? Well, here now is Miranda Devine, New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor, and Kira Davis, host of Just Listen to Yourself podcast. I love the name of your podcast. All right, I'm going to start with you, Miranda. The teachers' unions demanded a lot of money in the name of COVID in order to open up. They also demanded to be at the front of the line for COVID vaccines. We all gave in to all of their demands so we could get our kids back to school. And now they're closed. 1,000 schools. I mean, it's kind of went under the radar. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, it's never enough for the teacher unions, and it didn't matter that teachers were at the front of the queue. The fact is that children are less at risk than vaccinated adults. The risk from study after study, from North Carolina, from Sweden, from Norway, you name it, children are at very low risk of hospitalisation or death from COVID. And so they shouldn't be masked, and they shouldn't, if they're under 12, be vaccinated. And they don't need to be. If a teacher is vaccinated, it's safe. You don't need to shut the place down. You don't even need to test. We know that the damage to children of being masked, of missing school and socialisation is enormous. We've seen suicide and depression. It's just so cruel. We need to let children be children and live.
Yeah, Kira, in Virginia County, teachers got a $1,600 bonus check from the COVID money we gave them. If they're not even opening up school, should the teachers have to give, or the teachers' unions and the school districts have to give the money back to the American people?
Yeah, I mean, we know, Rachel, how that's going to go. Yeah. But I mean, the teachers' unions, I should say, have been holding our kids hostage for nearly 2 years now. And frankly, as a parent with kids in school, I've had enough of this. I get it that some kids aren't at risk. We know this. The science tells us this. But I get it that some teachers might feel like, well, I feel like I'm at risk. Well, you know what? We've been held hostages to your fears for 18 months now. So we've given you everything you've wanted and made schools as safe as possible without, quote, shutting them down. So if you still feel at risk in your job, you need to quit your job. Like, I'm tired of teachers assuming that they are entitled to their jobs. If you don't feel safe in your workplace and you don't think that's the job for you, quit and let one of the millions or at least hundreds of thousands of student teachers out there who are looking for work, who do feel safe, who do feel like I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm vaccinated, I think I'll be okay. Let them have your job. Because I'm tired of this. I'm tired of them holding their health over my head. My child is not responsible for your health. I am not responsible for your health. Your union or the government of your city is not responsible for your health. You are responsible for your health. If you can't deal with it, quit.
All right, I want to move to another topic. We see in Paris, we have some video footage of just craziness. Are we going to pull that up right now? I mean, Miranda, they beat her with that baton. I mean, apparently she was unmasked and they claimed she was not vaccinated and she didn't have this passport. Is this coming to America?
Well, I hope not. Look, I do think America is the one place where freedom, you had a war for your independence. Yeah. I'm originally have come from Australia where just as draconian things are happening. And I think that Americans should be very proud that they are trying to retain their freedoms. But, what we're seeing overseas, this kind of police state sort of existence for people is just driven by fear and panic. And it's as if it was a year ago. I mean, we know so much about COVID now, and we need to stop being afraid. We have the vaccines. We know about therapeutics, and we know who's at risk. It's the elderly, it's the morbidly obese, and people who have health issues. So we protect those people, and everyone else should be able to get back to normal life.
Yeah. You know, I'd like to say that's just a French thing, but I have to tell you, Miranda and Kira, I've been amazed at how easily Americans have given up their freedom. I went last summer when churches were shut down. I went to a secret mass, and I received communion in secret, and it felt very first century, very Chinese, communist. Yes. I mean, it's bizarre. So anyway, well, listen, both of you are great. Thanks for joining me today.